All right, time to talk about Suckett. Suckett won 2 years ago. He's always dangerous too. He's a decent manager. Well, he's a good manager. He won the league. You got to give him a lot of credit for that. Carmelo Anthony, better NBA player than fantasy player. He'll dominate points. Carmelo just doesn't quite do enough of everything else to really crack that top 15. I think he's a little overrated in terms of a name for fantasy. Brandon Roy, sweet. Another key guy on this team, Derrick Rose, going into his second year. Couple things scare me about Rose as a very, very overrated guy. He does not hit three-pointers. He hit 16 three-pointers last year, turned the ball over a ton. Jason Thompson, one of those three guys, Young, Thompson, Brewer, one of them three, it could surprise you big time. Jeff Green, I think Jeff Green may have plateaued. I think last year, I know that's he's a young guy, but that happens, you know. Andrew Bynum is Andrew Bynum. I think we've seen enough from him to know that he's good, but on the Laker team, with all the guys on that team, he just isn't going to get enough touches, enough time to make super impact. I mean, you got Gasol, you got Odom. Yeah, I mean, obviously Kobe shoots every other time down the court. Bynum gets injured. I like Bynum, but you're not going to look at Bynum and be like, wow, we're scared of this team. I'm not so sure about this team's blocks. That would worry me a little bit. End of story. Suckett's got a decent team. He's a good manager. You got to give him props. End ranking, I'm going to give him anywhere from a 2 to a 6. Big range for this team. Jesus Shuttlesworth, good team, good manager. He's the winner of this league. It's been a while, but he has won the league. I believe he won the league the first year before we entered the Keeper League. So pays good attention, always has a good draft. Too bad Rashard Lewis took steroids. Is going to miss, the beginning of the year here. Dwayne Wade, again, this team goes where Wade goes. I've said that before. I'll say it again. If Wade gets injured, down with this team. Injuries has crushed Shuttlesworth in the past. Just devastated the guy. You got to avoid those injuries. If he can avoid them, he'll be right there at the top. This team is an excellent team, but you got to worry about that center spot. Hakeem Noah, Chris Anderson is your starting centers. Oh, Al Horford you could throw in at center. You probably want to take Horford, put him in the center spot. Noah can't. I mean, we've seen what Noah can do in the playoffs. The guy cannot score the ball. Chris Anderson, the Birdman, come off the bench, get the crowd going, block some shots, get some boards, get some tees, get thrown out of the game. I don't want to rely on the guy. I mean, you might want him on your bench. You want him starting. Fortunately, this guy's got a good enough team that he might be able to survive those bad center spots. You do see teams win with mediocre centers. You might want to look at a Ben Wallace or another sleeper center off the bench, or another waiver center at some point. Barbosa, ever since they got rid of Terry Porter in Phoenix, who was horrible, Barbosa picked up his game. Barbosa had an off year last year, but let's remember how good Barbosa can be. I like that pick. I like this team a lot. I think this team can go a long way. I watch out for this team. I give this team an end rating 1-3. Shuttlesworth 1-3. All right, silly nannies, also backhaulers. Fat Clemenza stepped in, from my understanding, did the draft. And, well, let's just get into it here. Obviously, the standout is this team has LeBron James. Outside of James, this team is not deep at all. I don't know if the chemistry is right. I don't know if the depth is right. Josh Smith, overrated. This team is also just going to get completely wiped off the map in the turnover category. I mean, you might try and make a trade for Iverson and Carmelo, too, because you're just going to get flat out wiped off the map turnovers. But I really, without coming down too hard on backholders here, I don't really like the team. Center is, look at this center. Odin, maybe. Odin has potential like 50 other guys you could name. He's not a sure thing. You got to have those sure things in fantasy. You got to have things you can rely on. If you could have Odin as a backup, someone that might come up and give you something you don't expect, well, I like him then. But you got Odin as your starting center, and you got Maurice Spirits. I can't even talk. You got some guy I've never heard of. Michael Beasley sucks. He's a whiner. He's lazy. Get him off your team. This team's just not deep. I think this team's going to struggle. I'm sorry to say that. Maybe Dirk can come back and work things out a little bit. And, I give this guy a range of 10 to 6. Sorry, Dirk. Prove me wrong, buddy. Super Stickman Dan threw everyone for a loop when he almost didn't keep Chauncey Billups. Fortunately, made the right call and kept Billups. Not so sure about that Eric Gordon pick, but I like the instinct there. You just took some sweat from the league there, taking him. Tough to say Monte Ellis and Manu Ginobili. Anytime guys have 2 tough years like they did last year, being injured, not really playing, you don't really know what to expect. I don't know what happened to Luau Deng. You got Deng on your team. Deng used to be sweet. He's young. Last year, he just flat out blew. I don't know what happened to the guy. It's like that whole Chicago team. You just don't know what's going on. Marcus Camby going to be injured. I think you have Camby on your team every year. Hida Turkoglu got the big contract. I don't know what you're going to really get out of the guy. You got Dwight Howard on your team. That's going to help. You get a lot of boards there. I like Dwight Howard. I think this team's going to struggle a lot with the points category. You're probably going to get a 1 in points. You always surprise me. You always in the middle of the pack. Range for Super Stickman Dan, 9 through 4. It's a big range. 9 through 4, Super Stickman Dan. All right, winner. What to say? So I'm really in the same category as Bala Shot Caller, the coach, and Eat It and me are the only winners of the Keeper League. But I was the first winner of the Keeper. That was 4 years ago, so kind of got to step up to the plate here. Obviously, Chris Paul, LeBron James, top 2 guys. Probably got to lean towards Chris Paul as being a slightly better fantasy player, but it's all the same. Chris Paul dominating. Last year, finished the league with, I believe, a 1 or a 2 in assists. You have Chris Paul on your team, you get 1 or 2 in assists, it means you're doing something wrong. Kevin Martin, injured the last 2 years, don't really know what to expect there. Boozer injured last year, but the addition of Pau Gasol on the Lakers trying to repeat, probably three-peat. Kobe's out for blood. Gasol, Chris Paul, probably both top 10 guys, definitely both top 15 guys. Have to like that. Get into the draft here. First 2 picks on the risky side, which is unusual for me, but Tyrese Thomas and OJ Mayo both showed enough potential that I think 1 out of the 2 guys is really going to pay off strong. The depth of this team, phenomenal. There's really no weaknesses here. But I know from experience that anyone's team can deteriorate like that. You have a couple guys get injured, and then the rest of your team, each one of your guys is like 10 ranks worse than you projected them to be. I think the glue to this team is Kirilenko, Trevor Ariza. Those 2 guys is what's going to hold this team together. I have potential sleepers like everybody. Everybody has those guys. Everybody has the Courtney Lees, the Anthony Moros. Throw Turiov in the mix, probably win the blocks category, probably win the assists category, probably win the steals category. You give me a 10 and 3 stats, tough to contend. Will suffer a bit in the points category, but I think I can pull out a 3. Projected finish, 1 through 4. Everyone have a great year. Expect weekly recaps of the league. Much quicker than this, probably 30 seconds, just a quick rundown of what's happening, where I think things are headed. Again, please submit all feedback to the posts. Please pay attention to your team this year. I don't think we're going to have any problems there. I think this is a very, very good league, but still feel free to throw some personal shots each other's way. That's what keeps the league lively and the passion up. And we need some drama to keep everything involved. So bitch at each other a little bit, but